You guys want to take some questions from?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Yeah. Yes, him.
Just take the mic.
Yeah, when you ask a question, just wait until you get a mic, so, because we're recording.
You mentioned earlier that you wrote something like the bitch something or
the bitch in the house.
Yeah, what was that? That's my first question, and the second question is, how did you two meet? But
I'll answer that. The Bitch in the House was an anthology edited by my friend Kathy Hanauer about women. I mean, it's 26 women writing about pretty much marriage, I guess, or relationships, or having kids. It's like an angry woman anthology. And mine was about how I wanted to have kids and my husband didn't, and what we did about that. Basically, I think that's what it was about. But it was a bestseller, actually, much to my chagrin. When you write a personal essay like that, I think you're under the impression that no one's ever going to read it. It's just kind of like you get paid and you know it floats away on the tide of so many things are published and no one sees it. And then it was all the essays were pretty personal. And it became a bestseller. And how we met? Through my ex-boyfriend.
Uh-oh.
It's here.
Yeah, that's pretty much just described it. I can make a joke, but why? Does anyone else want to ask anything else, or should we go back to what we were debating? Oh yeah, each business.
Do you ever see the city going back to the way it was, like in the 80s and possibly the 70s?
Well, I think eventually it's got to. I mean, even Rome went through. I mean, every city goes through those cycles, in between me and stuff. It's. I mean, just a question of it will be, I mean, I don't to go to that level, that depth, where whole blocks were abandoned and stuff like that. It's going to take a while.
Until crime comes back.
Until good old-fashioned crime and people, flock to just flee the city and pass. But I think eventually everything will, we're all going to die and stuff. But I mean, aside from that, I don't think it's going to be in the foreseeable future. New York real estate is still doing well, even though there's a recession kicking in and stuff like that, isn't it? That's what I'm under the impression of. So.
Real estate's still expensive.
Yeah, and it's not going down, man.
No, I don't think so. It's not.
Yeah, it's true.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Since you both have written multiple books and you both, found an audience with your books, I think, I'm not a writer, so I don't know, but I imagine when some people start writing, they're writing for an imaginary audience. I think some people maybe don't. I'm a musician, and I know sometimes you have an audience in mind when you're making music, sometimes you don't. So I don't know with writers whether there tends to be an audience in mind. So, but my question is, and maybe starting with Kate and Arthur, as you actually find a real audience, does that specific real rather than imaginary audience play any part in your creative process? Or is it no different than having an imaginary audience?
You mean, the question is knowing there are actual people out there that read it?
Yeah, and that there's a specific, and you may have a sense of that audience from having spoken to fans of your work and stuff. Does that become a reality, that something tangible in your mind, or not so much?
I would say that when I'm writing, it's like a different, you're in a parallel world. So I mean, I kind of, everybody has to leave the room. Somebody said that. No, you have to leave the room in order for you to write. So if you're thinking about the audience, I try to forget. I actually try to forget that anyone's ever going to read it. And the more I can do that, the better. Otherwise, there's a self-consciousness that sets in, or a kind of I have this sort of people-pleasing side that comes out socially that I really try to get rid of in writing. That say things that people don't want to hear, or pretend that no one's ever going to read it, and then you're free to kind of write the way you want to write. What about you?
Can I ask you? I mean, how do you? Oh, forever. How do you come up with ideas for books and stuff? I mean, what's the hatching process involved?
I think often I try to write the kind of book I think I should be writing. Like there's this earnest third-person book that's been stuck in my craw since I was a little kid that resembles Middlemarch, and it's like my dream book that I would write if I were like a really great writer. And what happens is that I start that book, and I start, you know, trying to be a really great writer, and it just never works. And for example, with the Epicure's Lament, I was writing a book about a very earnest.
Oh, my kitty just passed.